first, it wasn't the laughter that caught my attention. It was the way she moved. Clara stood near the counter, her face glowing with a kind of light I hadn't seen in years, leaning in close to a man I didn't recognize. Everything else seemed to fade away, the room shrinking until it felt like only the two of them existed. Each gesture, every slight tilt of her head, every effortless brush of her hand against his arm communicated more than any spoken words ever could. I remained on the outskirts, unseen, a quiet witness to my own life coming apart. In that moment, an unexpected calm settled over me. There was no anger, no shock, just clarity. I didn't need an explanation or a confrontation. I had already seen enough. Without a sound, I turned and headed for the exit. I was done. My fingers had just brushed the door when her voice cut through the room, sharp and urgent. "Ethan." It carried over the music and conversations, drawing glances from people nearby. Every instinct told me to keep walking, but a mix of curiosity and the need for closure made me stop. She was hurrying toward me now, her composure unraveling with each step. "Wait," she gasped. "It's not what you think." I almost smiled at how predictable that line was. I hadn't raised my voice. I hadn't accused her of anything. I had simply walked away, and that silence frightened her more than any confrontation ever could. Her explanation spilled out in fragments. He was just a coworker, they were only talking, it was harmless. I listened without interrupting, my expression giving her nothing to work with. She searched my face, hoping to find anger, jealousy, pain, anything. There was nothing. Finally, I spoke. "I'm not leaving because of him. I'm leaving because of what I saw in you." That was when it hit her. I could see it, the excitement, the ease, the complete absence of guilt. That realization cut deeper than any accusation I could have made. Her shoulders sagged. She said my name again, softer this time, as if afraid to speak it too loudly. Around us, people pretended not to notice, but the tension hung heavy in the air. Silence has weight, and in that moment, I felt it fully. I realized then the strength of stepping back. I wasn't begging her to stay. I was deciding whether she still deserved to. She suggested we go outside to talk. I agreed, not because I owed her anything, but because I wanted to end this chapter with clarity. Under the night sky, her voice wavered as she admitted the truth. She liked the attention. She had felt unseen, ordinary, and never meant for it to go as far as it did. I nodded, not to excuse her choices, but to acknowledge her honesty. Then I said what she wasn't ready to hear. Feeling ignored doesn't justify breaking trust. She reached for my hand. I stepped back. That single movement said more than any argument ever could. "Are you leaving me?" she asked. I paused, thinking about the life we had built. Love without respect, I realized, turns into routine, not partnership. I told her I had already walked away once that night. Whether I would do it for good was the real question. Tears streamed down her face as apologies poured out. She promised it meant nothing, that she would end it. I believed her, but regret always arrives too late. Calmly, I said words she would never forget. "You didn't lose me when you talked to him. You lost me when you acted like I wasn't there." She finally broke, understanding that emotion alone couldn't repair what had been damaged. This wasn't about threats or ultimatums. It was about reality. Trust doesn't fix itself just because someone notices it after it's gone. I told her I needed space, not just silence or distance, but real space, to decide whether the marriage I believed in had ever truly existed. She nodded, finally grasping that calling my name hadn't stopped me. It had only postponed the inevitable. The drive home was quiet. She didn't reach for her phone or turn on the radio. She stared out the window, replaying moments she wished she could erase. I felt calm, sad, but grounded. At home, I packed a small bag. She hovered in the doorway, shaking. "Where are you going?" she asked. "I don't know yet." The uncertainty unsettled her more than a definite goodbye ever could. "Is there still hope?" she asked. I answered honestly. Hope isn't built on apologies alone. It grows from consistency, something that's been missing for a long time. That night, I slept somewhere else, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Walking away wasn't dramatic. It was necessary. For the first time, I wasn't afraid of the unknown. In the days that followed, her messages changed. Panic turned into reflection, excuses into accountability. She admitted she'd assumed I would fight, forgive, and move on like I always had. That realization stung, but it also clarified everything. She had mistaken patience for permanence. When we finally spoke again, she listened more than she talked. Change doesn't erase harm. It only acknowledges it. And acknowledgement, while necessary, doesn't promise reconciliation. Looking back, the moment she called my name didn't save anything. It revealed everything. I didn't hesitate out of weakness. I hesitated because I finally understood that I could choose myself. Whether we rebuild or go our separate ways remains uncertain. But one thing is clear. She will never forget the night I left quietly, without anger or chaos. That silence spoke louder than any argument ever could. I learned something profound that night. Love isn't proven by how loudly you demand attention, but by the dignity with which you walk away when respect disappears. Sometimes, the quietest exit is the strongest statement you'll ever make.